Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bedrock Guide. If you've missed out on my last several streams on Twitch, you might not notice that this volcano is almost done. It is getting there. We are making some solid progress, but there are some things that we need to do before we finish this and before we tackle this side of the mountain over here. I've been working in between episodes on a little beachfront here that we are going to put our project for today. One of the main materials that we're going to need in the coming episodes is basalt. And I'd rather not have to go into a basalt delta to tackle that. So we are going to build a basalt farm over in this area right here. If you don't know how a basalt farm works, it's actually very simple. All you need is a piece of soul soil, and we'll just go ahead and put that down right here temporarily just to show you how this works. And then next to the soul soil, you need a piece of blue ice, and then either directly next to that or on top of the soul soil, you can place one bucket or one source of lava. If we place the lava right there, it will chemically react with the blue ice and soul soil to make a piece of basalt. When we mine that up, it will react again and again and again and again. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I sat in a creative testing world for like 2.5 hours to try to design a basalt farm that was better than Prowl's. Every time I tried to come up with something, it ended up coming back to the very, very basics. And I guess I have to read this statement that Prowl is requiring me to say. This basalt farm was designed by Prowl 8413, and it is the best basalt farm in the world. All jokes aside, this is actually Prowl's design, and in all seriousness, I did try to come up with my own design in a testing world, and redstone, no redstone, it didn't matter. This is the best and fastest that I could come up with, and I didn't even come up with it. So, Prowl, thanks so much for the awesome design. Go check out his video. I'll leave it in the description below. All you need is 5 pieces of soul sand right here, just like this, because you cannot dig any farther than 5 blocks. Once we are ready to start collecting our basalt, we're going to need a system to quick collect it and put it into storage. So what we'll need to do is take our hoppers and face them this direction, and make sure that there is one hopper underneath every piece of soul sand. The reason we're facing them toward that direction is because our storage area is going to go over on this side of the building, but you can really put these whichever direction you want. Then we've got some temporary blocks right here, and we're going to use our stripped spruce logs and line the side of this soul sand right here, and then some temporary blocks on the other side, and we're going to line this side of the soul sand temporarily 1 block lower than our soul sand, and then come out 1 block further and then bring it up 1 as well. Then we'll go ahead and take our rails and place one right here, and then we'll grab a minecart with hopper, place it down, and watch it fall into place. So here's how this works. Every time you mine basalt, because this minecart is positioned right directly inside of this block, the basalt is going to immediately get sucked down into the storage. And then it's going to land in these hoppers and then travel on over to where our chests are going to be. We'll want to make sure to block this off as we go so that none of the minecarts glitch out of the soul soil. So we'll just use our stripped spruce logs again, and then we'll make sure to do this for every piece of soul soil that we have. Next, we're going to take our blue ice and place it down directly next to the soul soil. You only technically need 1 row of this, but we're going to go ahead and put 2 down. I know it might be a little bit of a waste of resources, but I like the way it looks. Then we're going to need a way to trap our lava in so it doesn't go spilling out everywhere. We're going to outline this whole thing. Then all that's left to do is to grab our 5 buckets of lava and start placing them down 1 at a time in each of these slots right here, and you can already hear it reacting. We do have basalt forming right there. I know I've mentioned this before with other builds in this series, but it's very, very important that you have fire tick off if you're going to use logs or other flammable materials. If you don't want to worry about fire tick being turned off, it's all a personal design choice, but just make sure it's not flammable. So that's it. All we got to do is stand here and hold down our mining button, and it's going to collect all of the basalt we can get our hands on. You can stop right here if you want. This is it. This is the entire farm. You can throw a few chests down, have it collect right there, and you don't have to go any further. But that's not where we're gonna stop. We have a really cool pirate ship. We have a really cool volcano going up. We want to make sure that this fits in with the environment, and so I've got a really cool building in mind. I've got a basic shape around the perimeter of our build, and you can see that we've used stripped spruce logs and stripped dark oak logs. We're gonna mix these in as we go, and it's a little bigger than I anticipated for this area, but that's okay. What I want to be careful of is to not get too close to the pirate ship. I want that to be its own thing. I want this to be its own thing. I don't want them to connect. We're going to come over here and go up 5 more so that there are 6 logs, including the bottom one right there. And we're just going to do this all the way around. We've got a good chunk of the exterior done, but I want to shift to the interior for just a moment. Most of this interior space is going to be behind the scenes kind of stuff, but we've got our actual basalt farm here. We're going to run some hoppers under the floor, and then they'll jump up over here and end up at the storage. So what we're going to do is we're going to place down 5 double chests, and then we're going to triple it so that there are 15 double chests. This should be more than enough for what we're going to need during this series. Then what we can do is take our hoppers and place them into the back of these chests. And lucky for us, this is a single item farm, so we don't need to do anything with sorting, so it's a relatively small design. All we need now is a hopper line carrying the basalt to the storage, and then the mechanics of this farm are done. I've put some light stained gray glass in place for our item elevator tube, and we'll probably end up decorating it with some more wood varieties, but that's good enough for the moment. We're actually going to head underneath here where our hopper line meets up with this tube. This is a relatively easy item dropper to build, and it's actually 95% completable under the water. Let me show you what I mean. We can place our dropper right here so that it is facing into the glass tube. Then we're going to take a temporary block and place it down right here and put down our soul sand so that basically anytime a piece of basalt enters into that dropper, it will spit it out into the soul sand and shoot it up to the item elevator tube. We're going to place a log right here and right here, and just for the sake of consistency with the rest of the build, we're going to go ahead and strip both of those logs. Then we can take our comparator, which I don't know if you knew this or not. You can place comparators underwater, so we'll place that one right there, and you can see there's already items in there. We've got some basalt from when we tested out the farm earlier. Then we can take a sticky piston and place it upside down just like that, and because this is activated, the sticky piston will go ahead and extend. And then we're going to place an observer facing this direction so the red dot is facing away from the contraption. The little face is right here, and then you've seen this many times before. We're going to place the other observer right there, and we've got an observer clock going. This is 95% of the dropper completed. The last thing that we need is this little torch right here, but you cannot place it underwater. So we need to box this in and drain the water a little bit so that we can put this torch in place. I know this is pretty difficult to see, but we're going to go ahead and place this redstone torch down right here. There's the observer, and it's ticking on and off, on and off. We actually have a sponge right here that we used to drain the water a little bit from this tube. And I think this works pretty well because this can represent one of these supports that holds up the entire structure. We might have a few smaller ones around the corners, but we'll put probably another one right here just as a design element. There's all of our basalt bouncing around. That's a good sign. Then we're going to take a water bucket and drop a water source right here at the top so that it drops down and it goes horizontally on the rest of the track. We need to get a way for the bubbles to come all the way to the top as well, so the items will flow into the hopper line. You can use the Kelp Trick, which basically means you plant kelp all the way up and then break it and they all become water sources, but kelp does not go on soul sand, and I've already put it in place and I don't want to mess with the redstone under the water there, so we're going to go with the a little bit more time consuming but simple route of just dropping water buckets on each source. And that's pretty much it for storage. Let's go ahead and give this a little test. We're going to drop it in here into this hopper as if it's going through the farm system here. We should see items flowing up momentarily. That's awesome. Oh, I love the way they just shoot up into the air and then they flow on into the hoppers. That's perfect. So then they should start filling up this first hopper here first. There we go. Very good. I can't remember whether we've explained or not what we're going to do with this building, but from here on out, we're gonna make this look like a pirate shack that's got an upside down pirate ship sitting on top of it as the roof. It's a very, very cool design. If I can remember to put the concept art on the screen, I will show that so you guys get a general idea of where this idea came from. Okay, so we're gonna come over here with some polished basalt and we're going to pillar out 2 blocks. Then we'll break this one because we do want a space right there. And then we're just going to go straight down the line. We will end up busting out a part of this later because of a design choice that will be made, which has already been planned out. I've done this in a creative testing world. I've got a general idea of how this is going to look, but this is going to be the border of the pirate ship. And as we get to the front of the building here, we're going to start angling this inward and downward, kind of similar to how we did the front of our pirate ship over here. It kind of angles in and up, but we're going to do the reverse of that because this is supposed to be upside down. All right, guys, so we've got our frame in place around the horizontal part of the ship, and we've also put in these rib cages for the rest of the hull. I find it's a little easier to get a good shape for a ship if you do something like this first. It's basically setting the framing and then you can fill it in, which is exactly what we're going to do now. So we're just going to go in here and follow along the edges. We'll go ahead and fill in. And once we have this in place, we can start detailing and cutting things back out as needed. And that's not looking half bad. We've got most of the underside or top side flipped upside down of the ship done. Only thing we haven't finished yet is this backside here, which we will get to here in just a little bit. I want to start working on some of the detailing, but now that I'm looking at this, I think I want to extend the beach front just a little bit farther into the building. Maybe not quite to the front door, but I think I want to add just a little bit more. So let's go grab some sand and take care of that really quick. All right, we've got a decent walkway in place. We may do some more detailing to this later, but for now, we're going to move on to the main entrance. What we're going to do, we're going to take 2 spruce fences just like that, and then 2 spruce fences just like that. And then we'll come over here with some oak stairs, and we're going to have to be careful because we're going to be running into part of the build here now, which we can actually just go ahead and bust out and then fix it here in a little bit once we get the detailing in place. We'll go ahead and put a stair there, upside down stair, regular stair, and then stair facing forward, and then repeat the process over here. And I think that looks pretty good. We may actually go ahead and break that one. Maybe we'll put it backwards like this, and then have it sticking out to the front a little bit. Actually, I think I like that a little bit better. I've also poked out some holes in the side of the wall here for some windows. We're gonna grab some black concrete and put that behind these windows and then put the glass in front of it. It'll kind of create a negative space effect where you won't really be able to see inside the building, but it'll look like it has functional windows. And there we go. We actually decided to lower these windows so they match. I think that looks a lot better. It's more uniform. But now we've got these spruce trap doors that we're going to go ahead and place right here and right here for some shutters. And we'll do them on the same side of every window as if they would flip over and cover the window. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and destroy some of the work we've already put in because we're going to replace this little part right here with something fun. We've got all this basalt. We want this to indicate that this is actually a basalt farm and not just a crazy cool pirate ship build. And so we're just going to put like a little basalt facade on the front. And I think this will turn out really cool. We're just kind of spamming blocks right now, and we're going to take a step back in just a minute and see what this looks like. That's kind of all part of the process. You just throw some things down and then come back, take a few steps back and see what you think. Let's go ahead and do that now. It's not bad. It's a little bit too linear. I think we're going to try to bust some of this out. Okay, we've got a bit of a progress jump here, so let's take a look at what we've done. And boom! We've got some pretty decent depth on the basalt now. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And we added some lighting all the way across the front of the building and a few barrels here. But we are not done yet. I've got a few more things I want to do to decorate the side of the building, one of which is by placing a couple of vines here and there, and we're just gonna let them grow. And I imagine this entire wall will be filled with vines here before long, and that's totally fine. Okay, I think that's enough to get it started at the very least. The next thing that I want to do is we're gonna go over here and let's maybe bust out that log right there, because it's not really going to affect anything structurally. It won't poke onto the inside of the building, and we're gonna go ahead and drop a water bucket right there and allow that to just just flow over the side, make it look like we got a little bit of a leak. And then maybe we'll come over here and do the same thing right underneath this window. But we're probably going to want to patch this right here first before we do, so we don't risk messing anything up in there. So we'll just put a solid block instead of that slab, and boom. I know it's not much, but it adds a little bit of movement to the side of the building. And then we're going to go over to the opposite side. And yes, that's perfect. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Fantastic. So we've got 3 different water sources that are coming from 3 different elevations across the face of the building, and I think that's pretty good. Again, those vines will continue growing along the side, and that's almost about it for the exterior of the building. A couple more bits of detailing we're going to do to the outside here. We're going to take some spruce fences, and we're going to build up a fake mast for the underside of our pirate ship. Totally makes sense. Masts definitely go on the bottom of the ship. Doesn't make sense at all. But look at the concept art again. It looks really cool for this type of a building. Just adds a little bit more of an effect. And we're actually going to angle the crossbeam a little bit as well, so that it comes out a little bit toward the front on this side, and so that it comes out on the back on the opposite side. 2 more things we can add to this. We're going to add a few chains just hanging down, very similar to what we did over on our pirate ship over there. Then we'll come up top here and we'll add a little bit of what would be a crow's nest. Doesn't have to be functional, doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be enough to sell the illusion from the ground. And I think that does it. One more thing on this side of the building. We're going to take some of our leftover fences and act as if they are a rope being draped over the side of the ship. This may take a little bit of finagling here, but we'll get it. Because what I would like to do here is put a little bit of a fake anchor on the side as well. So we'll take some andesite walls and bring them down to about here, and then we can come up with it like this, and then one more on each side. And then I think we'll go ahead and place one right here on the front, and there we go. We've got our little anchor hanging down. It just adds one more little bit of detailing to the outside of our Basalt Farm. Okay, that's it. I'm happy with it. Let's go on to the inside and see what we've done in here so far. We've raised up the stripped spruce logs to a decent ceiling height, and we've run some basalt pillars across. And the last thing that we need to do in here is make an actual ceiling, because I don't think I want all of that as the ceiling up there, because it's not quite clean. And there's some basalt stuff sticking out over here, and it's just a big mess. So I think we'll just mimic the floor and put our birch slabs right up here at the top, so that we can just barely see the bottom side of these little cross beams. And that's it, folks. We've got this room completely finished. We got some lanterns to light the place up. We did light up the top side of the roof up there, so we don't have any mobs spawning on the other side of those slabs. And then if we come out here, we actually went ahead and put in a second support to kind of hold up the building. If you swim a little bit too close to it, you can kind of tell it's not actually doing anything structural. It's not even masked by those hoppers, but that's okay. We're not even going to swim under here very often. And from the surface of the water, it looks great. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and slap a spruce door right there on the ground and hope that while we're in here mining basalt, we don't have any unfriendly neighbors coming to bust down the door. Speaking of unfriendly neighbors, we got to go meet up with Prowl for just a minute. Let's go meet that mending bow user and see what he has to say.
Hello, Blue Jay.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, so I originally was going to challenge you to do some tasks, but I thought that maybe getting together with you on this would be better. We've already talked about like what we're going to be doing, but let's tell the guys about this new thing we're going to be going that's going to, for now, take the place of Resource Roulette.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we're going to be doing the guidebook, and the guidebook is something that is going to come from you guys, the fans, the viewers, that you are going to give us ideas to kind of challenge each other's like knowledge of the game and how to do things, and then we will have to do a little like mini guide within our normal like episodes that we typically do on whatever that particular thing is, right?
Okay, sounds good.
So I've already fielded questions from my fans, and I've got a couple of recommendations from them. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to throw these things in here. Before you click the button, I do want you to know that these things are things that will not take a long time to do. I've explained to my peeps already, but for Blue Jays people, and just to reiterate, we're not looking for things that are going to take us part-timers at doing this like days to complete. These are supposed to be quick things that we can do that may be challenging, but overall things that we can do like within our regular episodes that we normally work on.
Prowl, you're gonna have to repeat that entire thing for me because I was sitting here the entire time wondering, why is he looking up into the sky? You're so weird.
I was looking at my camera. Go away.
There's no camera up there. It's gone. There's nothing.
It's a drone. It's a drone. Press the button.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Guidebook number 1. We are going to book and quill. What does it mean to book and quill, Prowl?
Open the book and quill. I forgot to put a name on it.
Oh, okay. So you must raid a treasure bastion without dying. It cannot be the bastion I already raided. Okay, so within the next 2 episodes, by the 3rd episode, we are going to go raid a bastion. And then, let me look at the invisible drone in the sky really quick. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, see? Right there.
When we have completed this guidebook, I can submit one for Prowl to complete as well. So, you guys go ahead and start thinking about suggestions for things, maybe withery things that Prowl could do.
No.
Yeah, so guys, leave some suggestions for what we could do for Prowl in his first guidebook. This is gonna be fun.
I think it'll be fun too, and we will continually take these suggestions, so drop them off at any time, and me and Blue Jay will kind of trade off back and forth in doing them.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, shake on it.
So yeah, things are about to get interesting here on the Bedrock Guide series. You guys now have a little bit of control on the direction that this series is gonna go. So leave those comments, leave those suggestions. We'll see what you guys come up with for Prowl to do on his perspective of the Bedrock Guide. But that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section, leave a like, and subscribe so you don't miss any more content like this. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.